we move on to the next speaker of this evening, who is Professor Partha P. Majumder. Now, Professor Majumder is such a well-accomplished scientist that I would have said that he hardly needs an introduction, except that it will truly be a cliche in this context. Professor Majumder is at the moment at the National Institute of Biomedical Genomics at Kolani near Kolkata. Professor Majumder is the present president of the Indian Academy of Sciences, and I'm glad to report to you that this program on diversity, the celebration of diversity, is really his brainchild. Professor Majumder is a truly interdisciplinary person. His PhD was in statistics from the Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata. However, his works include, by no means exhaustive, include human genome variation and statistical genomics. He has numerous awards. If I started to tell you all about his awards, it will probably take all his talking time. So I'll kind of mention only one. The latest addition in his long list of awards is the very prestigious G.N. Ramchandran Gold Medal for Excellence in Biological Sciences and Technology of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research in the year 2021. And remember, this is in spite of the fact that he's not a biologist. He comes from statistics. I think that speaks volume for his interdisciplinary research. Professor Majumder here will tell us today about why this program, in other words, why celebrate diversity. This is the topic of his talk today. Professor Majumder.
So I essentially said that I'm not going to get a chance, so I want to first thank various people, Professor Tirthankar Bhattacharya for organizing this entire thing, the lecture series on celebration of diversity. To you, Mr. Dr. Chaudhary, primarily for hands with us. We know that the National Council for Science Museums is a fantastic outreach program. Your colleague, Mr. Mangas Bapchi, who actually is kind of the chief architect of this program for, again, in various ways. The lovely poster that you see has been designed by him, and he has been a moving spirit behind this entire endeavor. Also want to take this opportunity to thank Shubhankar Biswas, who is the secretary of the trust, and Mr. Mahesh Chandra, who is the executive secretary of the Indian Academy of Sciences, and last but not the least, Mr. Sumesh, who actually runs this entire program, the audio and video components of this program that we are able to hear. So I'm really very grateful to all of them for coming together. I'm assuming that on the YouTube there are many students, and this is primarily for high school and college students. So it's my assumption that most of them have joined on the YouTube, and whatever I wish to say and whatever I will say will be primarily for the students who have joined us, because this is really a program for the students. As Professor Bhattacharya mentioned, that I belonged to the Indian Statistical Institute until I came to the National Institute of Biomedical Genomics, and that was most of my time was spent in the Indian Statistical Institute, where I really grew up, even did my undergraduate and graduate studies there. The motto of the Indian Statistical Institute is unity in diversity. So we grew up with the spirit of unification of diversity, or diversity that actually unifies. And that's exactly what I'm going to impress upon the young children who have assembled here. I'm going to refer to an African-American poet as I move along, and I'm going to bring up her name multiple times. Her name is Maya Angelou. She's an African-American poet who lives in the US. And she's really a fantastic poet. She's also written many essays and so on. So she said, and in one of her essays, that it is time to teach young people early on that in diversity there is beauty and there is strength. So what I want to do is to take this particular line and say a few sentences of my own in order to tell you, in order to tell the children who have assembled here as to why we need to celebrate diversity. So I want to first request all of you to imagine a few things. Imagine that we all look just the same. Imagine that all flowers look just the same. Imagine that all rocks and stones around us look just the same. Imagine that every day there was the blazing sun with no rain or no water. Well, I can go on with this imagine, imagine, and imagine. Really, if everything looked just the same and if the weather was just the same every day, wouldn't that really be boring? Wouldn't that really be boring if everything was just the same? When there's complete uniformity and no diversity? Just imagine. Indeed, it would really be very boring. And that's the reason why I think Maya Angelou has said that in diversity there is beauty. So we must learn to appreciate this beauty in diversity. She's also said, and I read out that line before, that she's also said that in diversity there is strength. And I said that in our institute, the Indian Statistical Institute, we believe that in diversity there is unity. So our motto was unity in diversity. I want to expand on this theme for the next 2 minutes, and I wish to confine myself to ourselves, meaning to the human beings. Each one of us is unique. We belong to different cultures. Celebration of diversity enhances respect and open-mindedness for other cultures. Celebrating our differences as well as our common interests helps us unite and educate us. To understand the perspectives of others is an educational and unifying experience. We celebrate unity when we celebrate diversity. Celebrating diversity is not just promoting tolerance, but it is true acceptance of differences. This results in our social development and enhances true understanding of the world that we live in. It prepares us to become a true global citizen. Diversity increases productivity. Bringing together people of various backgrounds with different life experiences can generate ideas or perspectives that others may not ever have considered or may even not be aware of. Everyone has their own way of viewing a problem, of solving a problem. These are the key elements of enhancement of productivity. Finally, I would like to state that in diversity, there is increment or increase of our survival. Those who have visited the tea gardens in North Bengal must have seen miles of hill slopes with tea plants, or in Ooty, miles of hill slopes with coffee plantations with no other plants. These plantations have grown for tens or even hundreds of years with virtually no diversity. This homogeneity is extremely dangerous. One plant pathogen, one fungal infection can make barren miles of the hill slopes that we see beautifully green in tea plantations or coffee plantations. Our human race can be wiped out by a single disease if every one of us were equally vulnerable to the disease without any diversity in susceptibility or our ability to withstand disease. Therefore, there is a strength in diversity, as Maya Angelou has said. Unfortunately, many do not believe diversity as beauty or as strength. That's very unfortunate. They rank the different layers of a diverse society and discriminate. In the name of culture and religion, we wage wars instead of accepting the diversity and promoting unity. Let me not belabor this point too much. Let me end by again quoting the African-American poet Maya Angelou, who said in the same essay from which I read out that line before, in the same essay she goes on to say that we all should know that diversity makes for a rich tapestry, and we must understand that all the threads in the tapestry are equal in value, no matter their color, equal in importance, no matter their texture. This is indeed the reason why we have assembled here today to celebrate diversity, and we will celebrate diversity in various components of our lives. The physical world around us, the plant world around us, the animal world around us, the human world around us, the cultural world around us, as exemplified by language, and so on. So we will, in the coming weeks, celebrate diversity, and I've provided a few reasons as to why we should celebrate diversity. Thank you very much for assembling here, and we now wait to listen to the first talk, which pertains to physical diversity around us. Thank you very much.